Hello everyone, welcome back to Trek A Day. I had a chance to watch Under the Cloak of War, and I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little off. I'm still getting over being sick, so I'll probably be a little bit shorter with this one, but let me tell you, this is going to be an episode that I am guaranteed to talk about more in depth when we get to my Season 2 review, because there's a lot to break down. And I think one of the overarching themes of Season 2 of Strange New Worlds has been, this is going to divide a lot of people. I think a lot of the episodes are taking some chances with their choices and presenting something that I just know while watching there's going to be people that automatically love it, people that automatically are completely put off by it. And last week was a great example, this is a great example, and then we have a musical coming next week, so I'm actually really excited by the crazy variety and tonal shifts and telling these stories. But this episode was tailor-made for my interests. And if you're new to these videos, channel's pretty new. These are always I just stopped the episode and give my immediate emotional reaction. And for me, this was tailor-made towards my interests. I love Klingons. Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek, and the one thing that I love almost as much as Star Trek is MASH, particularly the later seasons. So an episode that deals with the ramifications of the Klingon War through the trauma and emotional baggage carried by veterans of that war is something that for me was very impactful. And given the themes and what this episode was going to be about, honestly, it would have to be pretty bad for me to not enjoy it. So the fact that it was fantastic means I absolutely loved this episode. I thought it handled its themes well and rounded out to some closing words that really brought to point the true power and message of the episode, that some things break in a way that can never be repaired, only managed. It just worked. And it also tied together a lot of elements from earlier in the season. For me, this episode improved the premiere of the season, getting to know the backstory and connection in the context of the war against the Klingons of Chapel and M'Benga, heightened the tension and the interest in their part in that episode, and something that when I first talked about that episode I hoped wasn't something I was just going to be left hanging was the M'Benga super juice. We have Protocol 12 serum, a more clear, definitive answer in the context of what's going on, of what that is, and the side effects of it. A good look into the tension when war truly changes people, and then having to live in the aftermath and the attempted peace, and living with not only the acts that you regret taking, even if they were necessary, but seeing others and knowing what atrocities they had committed during that dark time, and still reaching towards an era where we can leave those behind, and how difficult that really is. You can say that for the betterment of peace, you sometimes have to hold back and weigh true justice versus of the individual versus the whole, and it really deals with these complicated gray areas in a way that for me was satisfactory. And I just thought it was emotionally probably the most significant episode for me. It's really, looking at the emotional spectrum, I think these past two episodes were actually the most powerful for me so far in all of Strange New Worlds, in completely opposite ways, and it's just really fun having them back to back. And the character of Dr. M'Benga, he's one that even from the beginning, I always liked him, and his performances were always great, but he was never quite at the forefront for me. But he always, I couldn't quite define it. I just felt like there was a great actor doing a great job who just had an unbelievably powerful performance, kind of held back, like bubbling beneath the surface. You could always kind of sense it was there, where like, here's this great actor doing a good job, but I know there's something even greater there. and I think here we finally saw it. I think he carried the episode. That was to me, that was the standout performance so far this entire season. It just really resonated with me, and just fantastic episode, and one that I can't wait to talk about more in the future. Because as we've been going through this season, I actually have a lot of thoughts beyond just my initial reaction to these episodes, the course of this season, some things changing kind of the way I think about them, and I'm really excited to explore both this Star Trek musical experience and the final episode, and then to really talk about the season as a whole. And I'm really curious to see, I know I can say for certain there are going to be people who love this episode, come on here and like, it was great, and there are going to be just as many people that are going to be like, I hated this episode, thumbs down. And I'm really curious to see, what you thought of this experience, and again, what you think of the way they're lining up these episodes, because I am really enjoying the wide variety that we're going to get over the course of 10 episodes. But I know some people are going to see it as this kind of schizophrenic thing with this absolute whiplash going from those old scientists to now this, and then the musical the next episode. So I'm really curious to see what you think of the ebb and flow of the season as well.